Just show me then go you hold that.
Hello, and a warm welcome to you all at today's IFFR press conference. My name is Vanya Kalujercic, and I'm the director of the International Film Festival Rotterdam. We are broadcasting live from a location that is usually the heart of the festival, the Doelen in Rotterdam. The announcement of our full festival program is always an exciting moment, and this year is actually no exception. But otherwise, there are many exceptions that happen to us. Well, together with our team, we were preparing for a physical festival. We were looking forward to welcoming guests from all over the world again and to show films and new films in full cinemas. But as you are all aware, the Netherlands has been in a nationwide lockdown as of December 19, and that means that all cinemas are closed. At the time of the lockdown announcement, we were almost ready with the program of mostly physical edition of IFFR. We had prepared screenings of over 300 films. We had announced, for instance, a specially commissioned installation by Steve McQueen called Sunshine State. And now that all this has to be cancelled for this year, we had to face the question of what we could and should do for the films that had given us their trust. And the result is that we will present the program online. Or perhaps I should say programs, because this year we will present 2 online programs. One program available for audiences in the Netherlands, which will be a selection of around 50 films and a number of talks. And the second program for accredited film professionals across the globe. This will be a more expansive program which includes the Tiger competition, a Mother Tiger short competition, and big screen competition, as well as titles from all other non-competitive sections. In short, we have a lot of ground to cover today. So I will first discuss the program for accredited film professionals, and that will be followed by the audience festival offer. Members of the press, please feel free to ask us questions via the Q&A box under this screen. We'll address a selection of those at the end of this presentation. And now, let's start with the big screen competition.
Just show me then go you hold that.
The big screen competition offers a wide-ranging selection, bridging the gap between popular, classic, and art house cinema. This year, 10 titles have been selected. Looking at the big screen lineup, some might think at first, well, this is unusual. This is a bit different from how this competition in the past unfolded, which is to a certain degree true. But it is also very true to the highly diverse varieties of treats IFFR has been offering its audience now for decades. And we believe that big screen should reflect the true breadth and width of the festival's interests and concerns. Big screen provides a home for works ranging from the masterly refined classicism of Jacques Doyon's fragile school drama CE2 to the playfulness of Anka Damian's animated musical, The Island, and up-to-date rereading of Robinson Crusoe. It spans further from the chillingly sharp sparseness of Adil Nirjano's allegorical action thriller Assault to Clara Law's categorization-defying mix of wanderlust and exile, essay, autobiography, and mystery in Drifting Petals. Big Screen is about strong contrast, about the joy of seeing films seemingly worlds apart finding common ground. Take, for example, Rajev Ravi's sprawling labor struggle epic, The Harbor, and Bret Michael Innes's brazen satire on free market capitalism and family values in Darren's Gin. So here, both present society's lower strata in the fine fighting mood, ready to tackle its oppressors with wit and fury alike. Or, for instance, how Mabrouk El-Mehri's feminist martial arts comedy, Kung Fu Zora, Ursula Antoniak's existentialist post-apocalyptic chamber piece, Splendid Isolation, and Christos Massala's crime drama turned study of an outcast community in Broadway. So all these titles talk about spaces as prisons and how to escape them with force, imagination, and a desire for change. Or indeed how Adrian Silvestre, in his cheekily offhand gender dysphoria light drama, Mi vacío y yo, encircle in aesthetically truly different ways the same mystery, and that is that of love, how to find it, and in whom. In short, Big Screen comes from the heart of IFFR. Here, everything is possible. Films from this selection are eligible for the VPRO Big Screen Award. A jury of audience members will choose the winner. And the winning film receives a guaranteed theatrical release in the Netherlands and will be broadcast on Dutch TV by VPRO and NPO. In addition, a 30,000 euros prize is awarded, equally shared between the filmmaker and the distributor who releases the film. And now, let's take a look at the selection for the Big Screen Competition 2022.
Все, убит. Ваши писки слышно в другом конце школы. И вообще, здесь же это, стена, да? Правильно? Как вы через нее прошли?
Да, он прав. Нам надо тогда на две группы разделиться, с разных концов зайти.
Ну тогда ты и ты за мной, пойдем.
Όλη η οικογένεια ήταν εκεί να με υποδεχτεί. Ο Ρούντολφ, ο Μοχάμαντ, ο παππούς. Λιδαρά τον φωνάζαμε. Και η Λόλα.
Δεν ακουμπάς. Έχει λύσει.
Λύσα.
Να, κοίτα τι έκανε στην κάμερα του Ρούντολφ.
On y va ou on reste planté là?
Jesus is like my main guy. I mean, beyond being the savior of humanity and God's son, his muscle-to-fat ratio in those old Renaissance paintings is inspirational. # goals.
And my personal favorite, a pet section for all our fitness animals who don't want to leave their pets at home. It's run by Richard. He's almost finished with high school, and he makes sure that everyone is taken care of there.
I hate animals.
碼頭嗰邊啲氣場幾好，啱晒作曲，天地神人合一，即。點揾你啊？你打53449228。
La police devant la petite.
C'est pas moi qui les appelle.
Ah ouais? Oh, pourquoi la petite elle est chez sa copine? Pourquoi tu veux qu'on parle? Ça sent le guet-apens, non?
Je pars. Non, Zina, je rêve pas sur ma fille.
Je crois que je vais la laisser partir avec une bédarde dans ton genre. Tu vois? Tu vois, c'est toi, toute seule.
Arriba, arriba, abajo, abajo. Eso es, pero con más fuerza. Y ahora le vamos a bailar a alguien. Mira, baja lento. ¡Wow! Que no nos ve nadie, ¿eh? Un poquito más arriba. Y ahora el desafío, ¿eh? Bajo, subo. Ahora sí, y subo.
Robinson's diary. You are shipwrecked on a deserted island. He's alone on a deserted island.
Everybody died on the ship.
He's alone on the island.
Everybody died on the ship.
He's alone on the island.
Moving on to the next competition, the Tiger Amodo Short Competition. This year's jury consists of 3 following jury members: Tim Landecker, Nduka Ntambo, and Enrique Vos. Together, they will determine which 3 films will receive 3 equal Amodo Tiger Short Awards, each worth €5,000. The flagship Tiger competition is IFFR's unrivaled platform for emerging film talent with a distinct voice, and this year features a selection of 14 titles. Tigers look at a specific sphere, new directors with contemporary modernist voices, which is not to say that there is one obvious modernism. The Tigers discuss among themselves what modernism can and should mean. A deliriously colorful vision of society's more absurd sides, like Sam de Jong's Metmes, is as welcome here as the stern gloom of Maria Ignatenko's World War II drama Achrome, or the sunny and fresh theatrics of A Criança, directed by Marguerite de Hirain and Félix Duthiroy-Liégeois. Accordingly, diversity and surprise reign supreme. From intimism of Mara Polgowski's Malintzin 17, the finalization of a project commenced by her late brother, Mexican documentary master Eugenio Polgowski, by the ironic minimalism that defines David Easterl's commuter conversation piece, In Motion, The Plains. The realist exploration of rural Japan as a space of political strife and confrontation in Yamasaki Yuichiro's Yamabuki. Or the mythology-dense evocation of corporate crimes committed against an indigenous people of Paraguay with Paz Encinas Ami. To the dreamy animation that contrasts the memories of Maoist mass political oppression in Lele's Silverbird and Rainbow Fish, a subject also dealt with in a much more sober while good-natured voice in Gao Linyang's To Love Again. Hybridity abounds in many shapes and guises, demonstrated as much by Rahat Mahajan's astonishing fusion of luscious heritage, coming-of-age school drama, and experimental ghost tale, The Cloud Messenger, as by the sweetly perverse gaudiness of Roy Rosen's partly animated Singspiel, Kafka for Kids. Communities a bit on the fringes can be sketched as an everyday occurrence with gay heartache and animated ghosts, the way Roberto de Veres does in Proyecto Fantasma. Painted as a breezy, luminous reverie, like in Anna Tapia Rusuk and Renaud Desprez La Rose's Le Rêve et la Radio. Or splashed on the screen, as done with gusto, by Morgane Durla-Petit, with her sometimes unsettling, yet mostly pleasantly perplexing Access Will Save Us. Let's have a look at the clips of this year's Tiger Award competition.
Não faz mal. Sabes, acho que é o momento ideal para partirmos os dois.
Pensas o que dizes?
Sim.
É demasiado cedo para decidir.
Já nada me retém, acabou a tua espera.
A Sílvia.
A culpa não é minha.
Não, claro que não.
Eu consigo arranjar o dinheiro. Com o Pierre estamos em vias de fechar um negócio e depois...
Alors là, à Villeroy, il y a plein de fantômes. Vous êtes en vélo, vous voyez des pigeons, vous êtes en voiture, vous voyez des pigeons qui s'envolent, vous vous retournez, vous les voyez plus. Oui, on se dit, ils sont passés où? Plus de pigeons. Les chasseurs, il y a des moments, ils font « pa, pa, pa !» Et puis, il n'y a rien qui tombe.
There were exciting changes in the family but no less exciting were the changes Gregor himself was undergoing, and he was still evolving.
No vas, Milena.
¿Por qué no se mueve el pájaro?
¿Qué crees que está haciendo?
Poniendo huevos.
Exactamente. Les pone calor.
Ik heb een truc. Een truc. Een truc, je hoorde me wel.
Tranquilita, Susan.
好像说那个你的名字佳琪也是奇迹出现的意思。
一个姐姐是玲玲，一个姐姐叫龙龙了，他们都是王字旁的了。然后我就是一个王字旁，一个奇怪的奇嘛，是吧？可能我爸爸也有这个意思。
你想一想，
要不各卖各的吧。
山吹、元気ですか？お父さんと仲良くしてますか？戦況が変わってもう少しこっちで取材を続けます。ここは正義と正義がぶつかっていて、それによって弱い人の生活が踏みつけられています。多様な正義に隠れた小さな声を。
In addition to the competitions, we want to offer all other selected films visibility in our online program for accredited film professionals. This to ensure continuity and to allow them a chance to be seen by the filmmaking community, by the film critics and programmers. The result is a large selection of films, including the previously mentioned competition titles that will be available online through our partners at Festivals.com Pro. The selection also includes titles from Limelight, Harbor, Bright Future, Cinema Regained, the short and mid-length program, focus programs, and Scopito. Unfortunately, we do not have enough time here to talk about all the individual titles. Just to give you a hint of what we trust will be making an impression, we will present The African Desperate, a first fiction by Black artist Martin Sims, showing from within the challenges of how to navigate contemporary creative culture in the US. Then we have Stand By Me by Tamara Dandri. It can be seen as a delicate counterpart in Moscow, as it also is set in a contemporary creative milieu. Next to these female voices in Bright Future, in Harbor, one can find a veteran like Brazilian filmmaker Ana Carolina, who has been working in film since the late 1960s, and her elegantly staged drama set in Brazil on the event of World War II shows that a film can be timeless, contemporary, and relevant at the same time. Also in Harbor, we proudly present new films by Rotterdam regulars, such as Mariano Linas, Gurvinder Singh, Zheng Fang Yang, the Larieux brothers, and Jonas Treba, next to newcomers such as Lim Sang-soo with an impressive debut, Drone, and other genre benders such as Senegalese Surprise, Saloon. These films will be available exclusively for accredited guests. For a complete overview of these titles, please visit IFFR.com/pro. And now, let's move on to the online audience program. For Dutch audiences, we offer an exciting selection of films available on IFFR.com. This will be around 50 titles, which offer such a wide variety of topics, of origin, of form, and genre, that we can safely say it has something for everybody. Also, for those die-hard film enthusiasts that want to, for the first time since 1978 or so, it is theoretically possible to watch all films on offer. It comprises from films of our regular non-competitive sections. From our Limelight and Harbor selections, there is excitingly weird work from perennial festival favorites, such as Miike Takashi, with the final installment of his Small Song trilogy, but also to a new voice in Japanese animation, Battle Cry by Yanakaya. One can see a small renaissance in Italian cinema, with, for instance, a great new film by Mario Martone returning after many years to IFFR. Seasoned masters such as Bruno Dumont and Alexander Zadovich will be joined by emerging voices from all over the world, such as Clara Sola from Costa Rica, Freda from Haiti, and Anatomy of Time from Thailand. Let's have a look at some of the highlights of the audience program.
Undskyld, jeg tog mig at spænde. Undskyld, jeg blottede mig på den måde foran Christian. Jeg er et dårligt menneske. Og jeg lover, det nok skal blive bedre.
葵、久しぶり。掃除です。休暇で一時帰国してきました。都合のつくときに連絡ください。
Cái bay của cá sấu phải làm nào? Ủa attendez, je ne pas bonne éducation.
Ah, papa, ça bon quoi quand tu me soif.
Oui, ça veut dire qui t'aime les parties beauté bah moi attendez petit. Allez pour
ça veut tout ça fait là pour coca. Amalé.
Tu sais jouer. Je savais que tu sais jouer.
Lulu, tu l'as vu maman vendredi?
Vendredi.
Elle t'a dit quelque chose?
Oui. Oui, c'est ça.
Nell'italo disco ci sono tantissime canzoni che non sono molto conosciute, questo dispiace, e ci sono dei brani invece che sono, secondo me, assolutamente eccelsi. Casco, Cybernetic Love, è uno di quelli da mettere top 10, lo produce Salvatore Cusato, H. Casco, un DJ che viene dalla Calabria con la valigia di cartone e va a lavorare in Svizzera.
Cierra los ojos. Tienes que meterte en la cabeza de ella. Ana, ya. Estoy pensando en un color. ¿Morado? No. ¿Azul? Sí, bien. Ahora mando yo.
बड़ा अच्छा लगता है कि मिस मैं उस स्टार का लुक लाइक हूँ जिसे 1-1.5 साल का बच्चा भी पहचान लेता है कि शाहरुख खान है। ये सब देखकर मतलब एक अपने आप में अच्छा फील होता है।
Time to move on to the next segment, which is dedicated to the Robbie Miller Awards. Thai cinematographer Sayombu Muktiprom will receive the 3rd Robbie Miller Award. Awarded in collaboration with the Netherlands Society of Cinematographers and Andrea Müller-Schirmer, Robbie Miller's wife, the award annually honors an outstanding image maker in the spirit of the late Dutch cinematographer. Sayombu Muktiprom is renowned for collaborating with Apichatpong Versatile on films such as Uncle Bonmi and Memoria. But also he worked, for instance, with Italian director Luca Guadagnino on Call Me By Your Name and Suspiria. In his impressive variety of collaborations, the jury saw a consistency reminiscent of Robbie Miller's. Sayo's eye discovers the real, the natural, and the sensual within the field of pure fantasy and fiction, and vice versa. When he turns the camera to things undoubtedly real and unstaged, his images conjure up dreams and mysterious imaginations. Muktiprom will give insights in his work and approach in one of the IFFR talks, which brings us to the next section, IFFR talks. Each year, IFFR invites filmmakers and talents to discuss their work in a particular context. The goal of the IFFR talks is to inspire and to offer new perspectives and insights, as well as the opportunity to see the craft of filmmaking from a unique vantage point. In recent editions, we were delighted to host incredible talents such as Bong Joon-ho, Kelly Reichardt, Mads Mikkelsen, and Claire Denis. As part of IFFR Talks in 2022, we will welcome Mathieu Amalric, who is known as both an actor and a director. This year's IFFR will pay attention to both roles, as he directed Hold Me Tight and acted in Tralala by Larieux Brothers. During the talk, we will discuss his rich career on either side of the camera. With French filmmaker Rachel Long, we will dive deeper into her latest film, Mon Légionnaire, which, like all her previous films, she not only directed, but also wrote. Sayombu Muktipro, as I just mentioned, and a very exciting surprise talk, which we will only reveal during the festival. Last, but definitely not least, a talk with the filmmaker of this year's opening film, Amanda Kramer. However, before we move ahead with the opening film, it is important to note that the previously announced opening film Along the Way by Maaike de Jong, due to the revised nature of the festival, could no longer be presented. We will, however, once cinemas are open again in the Netherlands, collaborate with the team of Along the Way to support the release of the film. And now, without further ado, the opening film for IFFR 2022. IFFR will kick off this year with a double bill. We'll start with a short puppet animation by the brothers Louis and Noah Cluster called Stranger Than Rotterdam, in which IFFR regular Sarah Driver tells the somewhat crazy story of how Hoop Boss, in his inimitable fashion, became the mid-husband of US indie cinema by showing and supporting Jim Jarmusch's Stranger Than Paradise. This short pairs especially well with our opening feature, the world premiere of Amanda Kramer's Please Baby Please, which underlines the ongoing importance of US-American cinema to IFFR, even more so when it arrives with a unique female voice. Like so much of early Jarmusch, Please Baby Please is steeped in the mystique of 50s urban cool, with its noir-infused plots involving a sleazy gang of greasers. But the way Please Baby Please becomes a story of growing sexual self-awareness and discovery is very much of our time, delivered in a tone that owes as much to 40s and 50s US underground as it does to the 80s music and artist video culture. Graced with a stunning cast that includes Demi Moore, Andrea Riseborough, Harry Melling, and Carl Glusman, Please Baby Please demonstrates that US indie cinema remains an innovative force to be reckoned with. The film will have its world premiere on opening night on Wednesday, 26 January, and the film will remain available from 27 January until 6th February. Now let's have a look at the clip of Please Baby Please.
You know, it might sound corny to you, but Arthur refuses to be a man.
Well, Arthur, if you're not a man, what are you?
I am a man. I just don't feel the need to act male. It's hard to believe I was even born male. I've never been enough of a genuine man to suggest I am one, so maybe I'm not one.
Boy, what a kick.
IFFR is honored to present the first ever retrospective of Amanda Kramer, one of the most unusual and inventive young US filmmakers. In the span of merely 5 years, Kramer created a concise body of work whose visual elegance and dashing theatricality is only topped by their delight in telling stories that either luxuriously escalate or languidly implode. The images are sometimes reminiscent of more camp-conscious 80s music video, as for instance in Give Me Pity or our opening film, Please Baby Please. At other moments, they can attain somewhat austere, stripped-down, Hopper-esque, as in the eerie spaces of Paris Window. All borders between life and performance are deliciously annihilated. All false security of genre and custom vanish. What reveals itself in its place is joyous anarchism.
Just wait. Just wait. Just wait.
last but certainly not least, the closing film. The closing film will be the opportunity to launch our 25 Encounters program, which started in the light of the festival's 50th jubilee as a celebration of cinema. The program comprises of 25 conversations between filmmakers and film enthusiasts, reflecting on the past, present, and future of film, film festivals, and IFFR. Some of the participants of these conversations are Apichatpong Versatacul, Christine Vachon, Olivier Assayas, Kemi Adetiba, Esther Martin Bergsmark, and Costa Gavras. These 25 encounters are captured in a printed publication and released with an accompanying selection of 25 titles by those involved, made available to audiences on IFFR Unleashed, starting with the closing film on February 6th. So, we'll be closing the 51st IFFR with King Hu's Dragon Gate Inn. In a way, IFFR has a love affair with this film, as it has already played several times in Rotterdam, but always in different contexts. And maybe because this sword-fighting paranoia noir in splendid colors offers a fascinating allegory for cinema and society as such. IFFR 2022 is very much dedicated to remembering the festival's first 50 years and to ensure at least another 50 years of constant development. As William Faulkner famously put it in Requiem for a Nun, the past is never dead. It is not even past. So making Dragon Gate Inn one of the current movies we could ever dream of to close this edition and to be a beacon for all the editions to come. So that is it. It's now time to answer some questions. Please do submit your questions via the Q&A box underneath the screen. All right, now I will focus on some questions here on my iPad, so do please bear with me to see what we have. And I do see that quite a lot of questions have been submitted already. All right, so I'm going to read some of them out loud. Some of them are very good questions and very logical, such as, what will IFFR do if cinemas reopen before the start of the festival? Or, for instance, why is Steve McQueen's installation Sunshine State no longer featured at IFFR? Why not postpone the festival edition? Will the competitions be made available for audience in the Netherlands, and so on? So let me start with the first question that I read, and this is, what will IFFR do if cinemas reopen before the start of the festival? So at the moment when the full lockdown was put in place, we had to rethink the festival right away on the spot, because waiting until the new press conference, which will be around the 14th of January, would be too late to shift again or to wait to see what happens with such a scale of the festival. We work, as we said, with more than 300 titles. We have a number of accompanying programs as well, exhibitions, performances, installations, and none of this can wait until 2 weeks before the festival. We also work with over 2,000 visitors, guests from abroad, and one thing to keep in mind as well is to ensure the safety of the staff in these circumstances, with such a widespreading virus. So that would be also a big challenge. So the moment we had decided in December to shift into an online environment is something we have to also stick to in such a short time frame. So I'm going to move on to the next question, and this is why is Steve McQueen's installation Sunshine State no longer featured at IFFR 2022? So indeed, this is the work we have commissioned from Steve McQueen, and both with Steve McQueen's team and IFFR, we felt that these conditions in which we are not holding a physical festival in Rotterdam are not optimal to present the work, even if venues can reopen again. So for the time being, we are going to postpone it and wait for the moment when such a magnificent work can be presented to audience, to bigger audience that comes to Rotterdam, both nationally and from abroad. Next question is, will the competition be made available for audiences in the Netherlands? Yes, that is the short answer is yes, it will. The longer one requires still some more thinking, and that is, for sure, we want to present our competition titles that goes for Tiger, shorts and features and big screen competition. We want to show them to Dutch audiences on big screens. But what we still don't know exactly is when we are going to do it. We have to see what are the optimal dates once we also understand better what is the situation with coronavirus in the Netherlands and the restrictions. But in this year, for sure, our audience will be able to enjoy them on a big screen. And then another very good and very logical question is, why not postpone the festival to, for instance, March, April, and make it a 100% physical edition? So first and foremost, we are remaining committed to our dates that are end of January, beginning of February. And one important thing to keep in mind as well is that we have no guarantees that if we would have moved the festival to 3 months ahead of from now, the circumstances would guarantee a 100% physical edition of the festival. And another important thing to keep in mind is with, again, such a scale of event as ours shifting and coming into dates of perhaps other big cultural events in the Netherlands or abroad is also a big challenge and something that requires some more time and focused thinking. And I think we are running out of time, but we will read, I will read one more question. So what happened to your initial plans to screen along the way? So as I mentioned earlier during the press conference, it is a film that due to new iteration of the festival, we could no longer screen as an opening film, but we fully remain committed to support this film as much as possible once the theaters open. So we are now working with a team of, along the way, Mike de Jong, producer and distributor, and we can't wait, of course, that the theaters reopen and we can show it on the big screens to our audience. And I think this is all for our questions for today. I would like to take this opportunity and to thank the entire team for, first, their creativity, but also their resilience. We hope you will enjoy all we have to offer online, and we are looking forward to hopefully welcoming you in person in Rotterdam in the near future. Thank you for watching today. Stay safe and take good care, everyone.
Just show me then go you hold that.